Hi guys. Right, what I'm going to do, I want to go through just a bit of a stress management tool. It's a stressful time of year at the moment. There's lots and lots of things coming up. So obviously we've got Christmas coming up. There's the stress about, getting stuff ready for Christmas dinner, buying presents, all of this sort of stuff. There's going to be stress and pressure from work because it's coming up to the end of the year. And your bosses are kind of going, well, you're going to have a week, maybe two off Christmas, over Christmas. So, there's the pressure of getting stuff done. You're probably putting internal pressure on yourself to get stuff boxed off before Christmas. And I see it every year. I see this a lot just from, the clients that I work with. I see themselves putting a lot of pressure on themselves. So I want to give you two things that will help to alleviate that. And the reason it's important to try and alleviate that stress and pressure is the impact it can have on your body. So stress releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol has a lot of impact on the body. Yes, if your goal is weight management, then it has an impact on that because cortisol increases appetite, so we eat more. It can cause water retention. My mind went blank for a second there. It can cause water retention. It can disrupt the hormones that regulate sleep, so your sleep starts to suffer. And there's all sorts of other hormone regulation issues that can take place that can cause all sorts of problems further down the line. So actually what we want to do is reduce the cortisol level by reducing our stress and anxiety, okay? And we want to try and get tools to manage stress and anxiety just that can fit in our everyday lives anyway, because action is one of the best ways of combating stress and anxiety. Lack of action is one of the best ways of increasing it. Okay, so let's look at a tool that will help you take action. First one, and a lot of you probably do this anyway, but to-do lists. To-do lists are one of my favorite things. I like to-do lists because I like to know what it is I've got to do. And it actually helps relieve the stress and pressure because if I get to bed at night and I've got lots and lots of things going around my head, I like to note it down in my notes, on my phone or on a piece of paper. These are the things I've got to do. One of the things I do actually do is every single day in my diary, I have a slot within my day that I call to-do list. And everything that I think of that needs to be done will go into that to-do list slot. And it's only a 30-minute slot. I'm not planning on doing everything within that 30-minute slot. What I am doing is I'm putting everything that I know I need to do into that slot, and then in that slot, I will allocate time to do it. Now, if it's a quick 2-3 minute job, like send an email or reply to a message or just anything that's really quick that takes like 5 minutes tops, I'll try and do it within that time slot. If I can't do it within that time slot, then I allocate a time in the rest of the week to do it. And if I can't allocate a time to do it because my week's filled up, I'll then add it to the next to-do list, right? So that's how I kind of manage my to-do list. I have a daily slot in my calendar that as soon as anything crops up, it goes into that. Once I get to that slot in my diary and it comes up, right, it's this time, it's your to-do list time, I look at the list and I go, right, that's going to take too long for me to do now. I'll allocate a time. And then anything that's left that's a 2-minute job, I'll do. All right? Nice and simple. Now, the next thing is prioritizing because you need to understand that some of those to-do things have time constraints. And then some of them are important and not important. And this is where this comes in. This is called an Eisenhower matrix. All right? And it's a tool that I've used for years. I used to use it as a teacher to try and prioritize tasks. Basically, tasks can be categorized by urgency and by importance. So they're either important, not important, or urgent, not urgent. So I categorize tasks by importance first, and I'll rate them like that. I then categorize them by the urgency, and effectively you then get 4 things. You've got urgent and important, not urgent but important, urgent but not important, and not urgent, not important. And they're rated in that sort of thing. So the important stuff's obviously, that's the stuff you need to do first. The not important stuff is the stuff you need to do second. And then with important, you do the urgent stuff first, then not urgent, and then me likewise at the bottom, all right? So this stuff here, urgent and important, that could be things that you've got a bill that needs to be paid in the next couple of days, right? It could be that, you've got to buy a birthday present for the weekend. Or send a card to somebody for the weekend. That's the important stuff. So it could be important work stuff, important social family stuff. Your urgent, not urgent but important, could be bills that need to be paid by the end of the month, or it could be things like planning Christmas presents for the kids or family, that sort of stuff. We then get the stuff down here. So not important, but urgent. Now, these are things that really doesn't matter if you do them or not, but if you're going to do them, there's a time constraint. Okay, so it's like those vouchers you get from Tesco's where they say you can get 20% off if you spend this much money and the deadline runs out. They're not important. It doesn't matter whether you spend enough money to get the 20% off. But if you're going to use them, there's a deadline. And then finally, stuff over here, this is the stuff that it's not important if it's done or not, and there's no urgency. This is usually where your kind of wants come in. These are the desirables, and this is where I procrastinate. So if I've got my to-do list without prioritizing stuff, these are the things that I go for, because these are the things that I want to do, but actually are not necessarily the things that I need to do, all right? So I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm not saying ignore them, but these are the lowest in terms of priority. So categorize. Once you've got your to-do list, so let's say you've got your to-do list, right? Categorize it. So you're going down, you're going, right, well, that's urgent and important, so that's a 1. Actually, that's a desirable, so we're going to put that in a 4. This is not urgent, not important, but urgent if I'm going to do it, a 3. And you can categorize them. Once you've done that, you then do the stuff that's 1s. Once you've done your 1s, you do your 2s. And it might be that you can't do all the 1s in one day, because it might be that it might take a bit of time. So you go, right, well, these are the ones I've got to do this by this date. So I'm going to do that one first. Then I've got to do this one by that date. It's a little bit later, so I'll do that second. You can prioritize it that way. But because you've got a to-do list, you know what your actions are. And then if you prioritize it according to this matrix, it helps you sort stuff out. And it can help you massively reduce the amount of stress you're feeling, and just reduce that cortisol level, and can help you sleep. It will help with all the kind of energy levels and things like that. And it just really brings you back down to where you need to be. All right. I hope that's useful. Hope it's useful. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else that might be, anything, little tips that you think, actually, I need some tips on this. Put them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you. Bye for now.